Hi, how you guys doing? This is Rich from TV Live. Hope you're having a great day here on a Super Bowl Sunday. So I was in this article from Bloomberg, and it is saying what China is doing to support the financial markets. So just so you know that the markets will be open in China on Monday, everything will be open again. And what they're going to do is they're going to have to make sure that the markets don't crash, obviously. And it's very good likelihood that they will crash. But here's what they're doing to make sure it doesn't. Good morning, Floor. Great to see you this morning. Central bank and financial regulators issue raft of measures. Nation's market reopen on Monday amid virus outbreak. China's policymakers are taking various steps to protect the financial system and capital markets from the fallout from the coronavirus outbreak. Here's a list of measures announced by the central bank and finance regulators over the weekend. The nation's stocks, bonds, foreign exchange, futures, and interbank markets all resumed trading on Monday. People's Bank of China will supply 1.2 trillion yuan. The People's Bank of China will supply 1.2 trillion yuan, otherwise known as 174 billion, to money markets on Monday. Quantitative easing, folks. Quantitative easing, meaning a net of 150 billion yuan injection. They are injecting the markets on Monday with 150 billion yuan. Provide banks 300 billion yuan in money for relending. Use open market operations and other tools to ensure sufficient liquidity. Keep money market rates stable. Temporarily remove the cap on Forex debt for some firms. Be less strict in checking banks' required reserves at the end of January. This is all being taken place to make sure that the markets in China don't crash. China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission will lower lending rates and fees for companies and regions most affected by the outbreak. Suitably extend the grace period for firms that have difficulty meeting the end 2020 deadline to comply with new asset management rules. Allow some insurers to raise their investments in equities from the current limit of 30% of assets. Maintain the pace of overall credit expansion and continue to lower borrowing costs across China, especially to manufacturers and to small and private firms. Encourage banks not to call in loans to firms affected by the virus, especially smaller ones. Consider rolling over loans. These are all the measures that are taking place to ensure that the markets do not crash in China on Monday, which is going to be coming soon because the hours and the time zones are very different. These are China Security Regulatory Commission measures that are taking place. Temporarily halt night sessions for futures trading from February 3rd. Allow some share pledge contracts to be extended by as much as 6 months. Allow listed companies to apply to delay reporting financial results for 2019 and first quarter of 2020. Streamline corporate bond sales, including by allowing financial institutions to submit materials online. Raise financial quota for some brokerages and encourage them to boost capital. This is what is going to happen in the markets to hopefully prevent the markets from crashing. Good morning. Hope you guys are all having a great morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. I was wondering what China was going to do to protect their markets. Now we know that they're going to essentially do what the US is doing. Quantitative easing. Supply 1.2 trillion yuan, $174 billion to money markets on Monday alone, meaning a net 150 billion yuan injection. So they're going to inject the market with 150 billion yuans. Pete Ferraro says, buy VXRT. Yeah, I think there's quite a few coronavirus stocks that we should look at. CODX, AEMD, NNVC, just to name a few, ONCY, and VXRT. There's lots, and we need to make a list and we need to consistently look at them and keep our eyes on them. I think AEMD is the lowest, and ONCY. AEMD and ONCY are two of the lowest, and yes, VXRT. Thank you, Pete, for sharing. How you doing, Leo? How you doing, Gary? How you doing, Dinah MacBeast? Garvit that says cocktail of flu and HIV drugs appears to help coronavirus. Thai doctors. You know what? I haven't heard about that, Garvit. Thank you for breaking that news. I mean, that's the beauty of having the community here talking about this, is we're able to share news in real time. I wanted to share this news with you guys about how this is going to affect the Chinese markets, which will affect the global markets. So now we know that they're going to be injecting the markets with 150 billion yuan. So hopefully the markets will be good on Monday. But what about Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday? Dinah MacBeast says, first person that gets it right. Hey, man, we try to get it right here. We try to get it right here. I appreciate you guys for the 19 likes on this Sunday, a Super Bowl Sunday, a very special Sunday. And I appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for joining me. And I thought that this was big news. I got this news from Bloomberg. So I thought it was pretty big news considering I anticipated the market to crash, because when you look at China, it's a ghost town right now. It's a ghost town. Businesses are shut down. Chinese businesses are shut down. American businesses are shut down. International businesses are shut down. It's a complete and utter ghost town. So when you see this ghost town, you have to really wonder, how is it going to affect the economy? And the longer this lasts, the more it will affect the economy. And here it is. They're taking measures in order to ensure that it doesn't destroy the economy. So they see in the United States did the same thing with quantitative easing and pumping up the markets, and they see how the markets are strong. I'm assuming they're taking the same stance. It remains to be seen how effective this will be, but I don't expect the markets to crash based on the fact that there's going to be 150 billion yuan injection into the markets. The markets may actually go up, which is weird and heavily manipulated, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's supply and demand. If people are buying stocks, bonds, futures, everything under treasury that you can purchase, the reality is the market's going to go up. So this is actually very bullish for the market. The fact that they're going to be pumping in all of these reserves into the market is a very good thing for the markets, even though it's manipulation. It's totally fair play. The United States is doing it. Leo the Landscaper says, any Canadian traded Corona stocks? I think there's quite a few. I'm going to start working on putting together a list. Definitely going to put over a list. I know there's a bunch. We need to work as a community and try to figure out who are the best and how we can maximize on this situation. Vu Dang says, temporary solution. Agreed. It is a temporary solution. But remember, paper is printed. So as long as they have the ability to print it, they can always print more. And they just print more and print more and print more and print more. So the same thing that's happened in the United States is now going to happen in China. And because they've seen the United States do it effectively and create a market melt-up, essentially, with quantitative easing and a falsified economy in the stock market, China now, more so because of just desperation, is going to do the same thing because they don't want to see their entire markets collapse. Because it's bad enough that people are dying and people are being infected, but if the markets collapse, that's going to create massive, massive panic. And the last thing that they want to do is they don't want to create panic amongst their people. They want to keep this under control, and they want to show the world that they can manage this problem, which they may or may not be able to do. This is a good step in showing the people, showing the world that they have this under control. They may or may not have it under control, but this will be a good step to at least show the world that they are able to control the markets. Bob Jones says, print up more. Who cares about inflation? Well, clearly the United States doesn't care about inflation. They just keep printing. So, yeah, obviously inflation is an issue. I'm not suggesting that I agree with this, but the reality is it's what's happening. So, it is what it is. Whether I agree with it or not makes no difference. I'm not the one making this call. If I was in China, I would probably do the same thing. Because the last thing you want when everybody is at home, not working, not making any money, and the entire economy is essentially financially collapsing because there's nothing happening. All the businesses are shut down, everything's shut down. So the last thing you want is to create more panic by having the markets crash. So everyone's sitting there at home not making money, and then on top of that, all their investments are disappearing. So that would cause even more panic. So supplying 1.2 trillion yuan, 174 billion to money markets on Monday, meaning a net 150 billion yuan injection, is a very smart move because they don't want their markets to crash. Bob Jones says, rich just get richer. All that money they print ends up flowing into the pockets of the rich. Well, the rich own everything, so yeah, everything will flow to them. Yeah, I don't know. Every time I do a video, everyone wants to bring up names of losers. I'd rather not consistently talk about losers. Let's talk about the winners. Let's talk about different investments that we can invest in that will win. Let's not talk about the losers. For some reason, everybody here wants to consistently talk about losers. They don't want to focus on the fact that, I brought you guys Tesla at $320 and now they're at 650. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on all the losers. We're very familiar with who the losers are. Don't know why you guys want to keep talking about it. But the reality is, if I'm not talking about it, you know that they're trash. It's pretty simple. If I'm not talking about a stock, you know that they're trash. If they lost in 2019, they're probably going to lose in 2020. Let's be real. Good companies go up, bad companies go down. It's pretty simple. If a company went down, it's because they suck. If a company goes up, it's because they're good. It's pretty simple. If you want to get some picks that are good picks, take a look at my top 10. I did 2 of them this weekend. One of them on Friday, top 10 non-cannabis, and then one of them on Saturday, top 10 green gold stocks. Just take a look, man. Those are the best. If you want to make money, invest in those. Everything else is risky, as far as I'm concerned. That's just my opinion. Always do your due diligence. Always do your research. I'm not a financial advisor. Always consult a financial advisor before you invest in anything that we talk about. But we do try to make it a habit to bring you guys the best, because the best are blessed. Happy Glass says they are doing everything the best way they can, quarantining entire cities and restricting travel. And now they are saving the world economy by doing this. So much we can use comes directly from China. I actually have a lot of respect for the way China's handling this. People are saying that they handled it slow, but they shut down that whole country, man. They've shut down borders, they've shut down travel, businesses, schools, everything's been shut down. Everyone's essentially staying at home. I think they did, considering they've got the largest population in the world, 1.4 billion people. I think they did, and I think they're doing a reasonably good job of preventing this from getting worse. I agree. Bitcoin and gold. are going to be very hot commodities. Do I own Tesla? I already told you guys, I'm not publicly going to talk to you guys about anything that I own or do not own anymore. But let's just say that I'm a very big fan of Tesla and have been for quite a long time. Vu Deng says, it's amazing how they build hospitals in 5 days. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of other countries wouldn't have been able to do what China's doing right now. They're showing their ability to resolve problems, and they're showing their ability to manage the issue, whether it's pumping money into the markets, quarantining cities, eliminating travel, shutting down businesses, stopping large events from occurring. They've been able to at least minimize the damage as much as possible, considering it's a very terrible situation. Armando Perez says, morning everyone, I think this will be good for our overall market. I was looking at the marijuana index and 2016 bottom looks identical to where we're now. Biden promised to legalize marijuana. Yeah, I mean, we can't go much lower from here. That's for sure. We're at the lowest we've been since 2017. So I agree there are a lot of upside from here. But in order to win, you're going to have to invest in the best. Stick with the best. Forget the rest. Pete Ferraro says, do you short any stocks right now without naming them? I make money up and down, yes. Fabian says, I'll be honest, Rich brings a lot of attention to good stocks early on. One of the main reasons why I subscribe to his channel. A lot of YouTubers only speak on stocks when they're doing well. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate you, Fabian. It's not easy picking winners, man. And we've been doing it for years and we're going to continue to. And through the worst and the best of times, we're always looking for the winners. And as a community, I believe we're getting better and we'll continue to. Happy Glass says, and considering it is spreading silently for 14 days before they even knew what was happening. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are suggesting that this had been going on for quite some time before we heard. But I think that they need to be commended for how they're dealing with this because everyone has their own opinion about how they're dealing with it. But it seems to me like they're doing whatever they got to do to stop this, including shutting down their entire country, which is not easy to shut down a country of 1.4 billion people. Max says gold is an inflation hedge. The more they print, the higher it goes as the US dollar loses money as it is inflating the money supply. This is why gold keeps flying, and I believe gold will continue to fly, and so will Bitcoin. Pete Ferraro says, do you think Bernie Sanders will represent the Democratic Party against Trump? I think there's a very good chance, especially because he wants to legalize cannabis. We'll see what happens. I don't think anybody beats Trump regardless. And this week, Trump gets off with the impeachment, and hopefully that's a catalyst for the markets. Josh Cook says, Armando, I'm shocked that Biden said that. I'm calling BS, actually. Biden thinks cannabis use needs more research. The only way somebody's going to beat Trump is by pushing the cannabis card. So everybody's going to try to push the cannabis card. Ron says, Diamond Eagle acquisition merging with DraftKings. Thoughts? Sports betting not illegal anymore. I think it's big news. Sports betting is huge news, especially as we go into the biggest sports betting weekend of the year, Super Bowl weekend. Yeah, sports betting is huge. Vu Deng says he's neck to neck with Biden. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I don't think anybody beats Trump regardless. Raid says gold is going to go up tomorrow. I bet on it. Yeah, it's very likely. Very likely. Gold will be trading in a few hours. So in a few hours, I'll be trading gold with my trading academy, and I'll let you guys know how it looks. Dynamac Beast says, so if you had 200 a week to invest out of your top 10, Where would you put it? I would put it in all of my top 10. Start with my number 1 pick, Scott's Miracle-Gro. And then my number 2 pick, GW Pharma. Then my number 3 pick, IIPR. These are my picks, man. Then my number 4 pick, Cannabis Growth. Then my number 5 pick, Afria. They're all good picks. They're all good picks. Those are the best. Even if you stick with my number 10 pick, CWeb or Valens, they're all good picks. I brought you guys the best. So if you're looking for cannabis stocks, that's where I would start. If you're looking for non-cannabis stocks, I gave you a list there too. And those are specifically companies that have reported strong financials. Companies like Microsoft just reported very strong financials. And companies that are coronavirus stocks like AEMD, ONCY, NNVC, CODX. These are the types of companies that people need to be looking at. These are the types of companies that are going to help you win. If you want to win and make money, these are the types of companies that are going to help you win. Just search Rich TV Live Top 10 February 2020 and you guys will see my picks. APT, that's the one that makes masks, right? Yeah, I need to look at them a little bit closer. They look very interesting. So China is pumping their markets up with billions of dollars. Do you think that this means that the Asian markets will be green later today? Or do you think that it still goes red despite the fact that they're pumping it with billions? Love to know what you guys think. Love to know your opinion on this. Yeah, companies like Neo could really explode tomorrow. Because remember, they're pumping 174 billion into the markets. So that's obviously going to help some stocks. The question is, are they planning to put it all in one day? Are they going to spread it out? How are they going to do it? I don't know. But they're going to do whatever they can to protect the markets, that's for sure. Happy Glass says, do you think that they will change FANG to TANG since Tesla rocked it and Facebook did not? I think FANG is great, but you got to also look at Tesla and put that in the list of companies you need to be looking at, for sure. Absolutely. Despite that, I don't have Tesla in my top 10 because I had them number 1 last month. So at some point, they're going to cool down. Maybe this is that month. I don't know, though. The results show that they may not cool down because they reported strong financials and strong growth, and they're reporting that their numbers are only going to get bigger. The ticker for NEO is NEO. NIO. That's the ticker. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Very, very interesting to see what happens. I think it's important that we invest in the best. It gives us the best chance to win and forget the rest. The rest doesn't matter. Invest in the best and forget the rest. That gives us the best chance to succeed. How about my pick, Snapchat? Snapchat is one of the picks that has been on fire. It's up 200% quietly over the last year, and it's a stock that nobody talks about. And they're quietly just doing very well. So definitely keep Snapchat on your radar as well. Josh Cook says, 1 week away from Aurora financials. Is the ship finally going to turn around? I hope so, man. It's been just brutal watching Aurora get beat up. Dynamac B says, yeah, I seen it. I've been following you for like 3 weeks. Thanks for all your info. I'm new in the investing world, so I've learned a lot from this channel and from a few others. Again, thanks for your info. Hey, whatever I can do to help you guys. We're a community. We're a team here. Thank you guys for the 30 likes, by the way. Happy Glass says, which exchange? Sorry, I searched it on Qtrade and they did not know. Josh Cook says, yes, Armando, I've heard Bernie saying full legalization. Lufer Booms says, what's up, Rich? How you doing this morning? Vu Dang says, we'll load up more Snap slowly. Also looking into Uber, Rich. You know what? Uber almost made my list. Yeah, I think Uber is going to blow at some point too. We just have to find the bottom for these global giants, which is what Uber has the potential to be still in its early stages. Pete Ferraro says, if Aurora has bad earnings, they're in trouble. If anybody has bad earnings, they're in trouble in these markets. If you have good earnings, your stock goes up. If you have bad earnings, your stock goes down. Thank you, Lufer. I appreciate it, brother. Whatever I can do to help you guys, man, whatever we can do as a community to win, we should do that. Floor says, hit the like button. Thank you guys for your 34 likes. I appreciate you this Sunday morning. On a Super Bowl Sunday, we were talking about the fact that China is going to be pumping the markets with 174 billion yuan. Huge injection in order to protect the markets from crashing. What do you guys think? Pete Ferraro says, will MetaPharm Labs drop below $2 USD? It's possible. They're being heavily shorted. Raid says, I believe all cannabis companies going to miss on estimates and go even lower. Well, I don't think all of them will miss estimates. I don't think that that's going to happen. Some will miss estimates, some will beat estimates, just like the other markets. Dynamac B says, ever since Uber came up with Uber Freight, it's been on my watch list. I think Uber has a chance to be a really good company. The key for us is to be able to find the bottom. I think we know that Uber will be here to stay. The key is for us to find the bottom. As investors, that's really what we need to do with everything, is find the bottom. So thank you guys for joining me on this Super Bowl Sunday. Hope you guys have a great day today. Honestly, I don't know who's going to win the game. We've got two really different teams. San Francisco, that's a defensive beast and has a very solid offense, solid running game, and a very good quarterback. And then we've got a team in Kansas City led by a quarterback that's kind of like Superman. So you got the high-flying offense against the really strong defense and strong overall play and team from San Francisco 49ers. If I had to pick, and this is hard for me to pick this, okay, because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And a lot of my friends, one of my really close friends, is a San Francisco 49ers fan. And I've never been a fan of the San Francisco 49ers. I've always hated on them because they've always been fighting with my Dallas Cowboys. I predict that the San Francisco 49ers win this game. My prediction is that the San Francisco 49ers will win this game. I think that they're better overall. I think they have a better defense. And their offense is definitely not as explosive. But I think that that defense will slow down Kansas City's offense. I might be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm anticipating. But you never know in a game like this. Anything can happen. I think it will be an interesting game. I think it'll be a fun game. I think it'll be a good game. But historically, defenses always are able, for the most part, to slow down. The best defenses usually can slow down the best offenses. Usually. But it depends. Mahomes has the ability to do some crazy things, so he's a lot of weapons. But like I said, they got Richard Sherman over there. They got a lot of strong defensive players in San Francisco that are going to make plays, that are going to disrupt Kansas City's offense. I think the 49ers win. As much as it hurts me to say it, I believe that the 49ers win. But I could easily be wrong. Josh Cook says the Ontario Premier was on Bloomberg last week, and he was saying he wants more pot shops in Ontario than all of Canada combined. This rollout needs to hurry up. It will happen. It will happen. It's not happening as fast as we want, but it will happen. Everything takes time. It takes time to build facilities, train employees, load up stores, stock the shelves. It takes time. One thing I can tell you here in Vancouver is that the local dispensary I go to, they can't keep edibles on their shelves. As soon as they get the edibles, they're sold out. And they told me that one of the only companies that is supplying them with edibles is Aurora. So that bodes pretty well for Aurora. John Hughes says, I bought some labs on Friday. Buying opportunity. It will go back up once the dust settles down. Yeah, the issue I have with labs is that they're losing millions of dollars due to this lawsuit with Hexo. That's something I take very seriously. So just be careful when you're dealing with stocks that are in the middle of a lawsuit. Vu Dang says New York legalize will help a lot of cannabis sector. Lufer Boom says the system in Ontario is out of whack. There's everyone saying that they're going to open up stores, and everyone's talking about opening up stores, but it's still not happening. John Hughes says, with wheat stocks, we got to be patient for 2 more years, buy the stocks and don't worry about it and look at it every day. My thing is, why do we got to wait 2 years? Why not just invest in something else? And then in 2 years, when the stocks are hot, buy them then. Why waste your time investing in something that you have to wait 2 years for? I just, I don't see any reasoning behind that. Lufer Boom says Doug Ford is in way over his head. It's very possible. Josh Cook says, yeah, our Ontario cannabis website sold out of their edibles in 2 hours. Aurora's grape gummies, peppermints are impossible to get. The grape gummies go like wildfire. Like everybody wants them. They can't keep them on the shelves. Happy Glass says he is the one standing in the way. The stroke of a pen would have 1,000 stores started. They need licenses. Someone needs to make it happen, man. Pete Ferraro says, wow, Rich, Sundial stock crashed. Why? They had a management change. And, clearly they're having problems. A lot of these companies are just getting decimated. So be careful. Invest in the best. Stick to the top 10 that I bring you guys. Those are the best. Everybody else, be careful. Ed Hedges says SMG up 11%, KSHB up 10%, picks and shovels. I like them both. I almost had KSHB in my top 10. I was very close to putting them in my top 10. But I decided to stick with the big boys. But yeah, KSHB is one that I'm watching very, very closely. Raid says Trump just said he's going to legalize marijuana on federal level. We going to the moon, boys. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. MJNA is trash. Stay away from the trash stocks, guys. Invest in the best and stay away from the trash. Thank you guys for joining me here on Super Bowl Sunday. Hope you guys are ready for a big game. And the big news is that China is going to be doing a quantitative easing in the markets and pumping the markets with over 150 billion yuan to ensure that their markets don't crash. And by the way, the markets will be opening up later today here in North America. Obviously, they're a day ahead there due to the time change difference. So it's going to be interesting to see how the markets react. Emma C says a scientific report from the Kusuma School of Biological Sciences in New Delhi, India, proves the coronavirus is a man-made bioweapon. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. We live in a crazy world, so anything is possible. Vu Dang says pre-market going to be strong. Yeah, they're pumping it. They're pumping it. Yeah, Bitcoin and gold will definitely run. I would definitely be watching Bitcoin and gold very, very closely. This is also good for the US stocks because if the sector in China does well, chances are the markets on Monday will be up in the United States as well. And hopefully cannabis will be up as well because cannabis hit the lowest level on Friday that we've ever seen since 2017. So I would not be surprised to see cannabis go up as well. So markets might actually be strong on Monday, believe it or not. Yeah, I don't know why you'd be interested in MJ&A. They're trash. Complete trash. I stay away from the trash stocks. I can tell a trash stock from a mile away now. Sometimes we still get surprised, but for the most part, it's becoming more and more obvious which are the real ones and which ones are the trash ones. And my best advice is stay away from anything under $5 right now, especially in the cannabis sector. John Hughes says, hey, Rich, if Hexo pays back the labs the money they owe, would it not go back? You know what? I have no idea. Like, what? They're suing them, so they're not going to pay them back. There's a default. I don't think Hexo has the money to pay them back. Hexo is struggling with money. So I don't think Hexo has what it takes to pay them back. But yeah, obviously, if they pay them back, everything would be good. But this is not just a one-time payment. This is an ongoing business. And that ongoing business is no longer there for Labs. So that's going to hurt Labs' financials. Labs has to find another supplier to replace Hexo. Pete Ferraro says, if you had to name 5 cannabis stocks that will go bankrupt in 2020, who are they? Stocks that will go bankrupt. I'd have to think about that. Lure Boom says, Hexo and their imaginary drinks, that company's a joke. Well, they've definitely been a nightmare. Raid says, CGC will be the king if you want to invest in cannabis. They definitely one of the best. There's no doubt about that. I call them King James. John Hughes says, I got to sell the lab stock on Monday, bro. Thanks for the tips, Rich. Hey, man, I just want to see you guys win. I just want to see you guys win. I like labs, by the way, a lot. But when you're getting heavily shorted and you're losing money because suppliers are not paying you, it's going to hurt the balance sheet. Simple economics, right? So from that perspective, we need to be careful. So the big news, guys, China is going to be pumping billions of dollars into their market in order to ensure that their market does not collapse on Monday in China. Why? Pete Ferraro says, why is Labs heavily shorted when they make money and are profitable? I don't know. Just heavily shorted. I can't tell you why. I can only tell you that they are. So be careful with Labs. They are very heavily shorted. And that always concerns me in this marketplace because there just isn't the big institutional backing in the cannabis sector. So because of that, the shorts have the ability to take that stock down, which they've been able to do. And a lot of people have been getting hurt. Fat Nuts says, what's up, Rich and community? How you doing, Fat Nuts, this morning? Lufer Boom says, any guesses on who the secret investor for Afria is? I have no idea. Reefer Aljoin says, didn't an ETF Canna stock fund collapse this week? Yeah, I mean, the entire sector is down, so anybody that's buying cannabis right now is definitely at risk. Alberto Ramos says, pretty good like ratio going on. Thank you guys for your 42 likes. I appreciate you guys. Dinah MacB says, what exactly do you mean by shorted? What I mean by shorted, market makers and shorters are betting that Labs is going to go down, so they're shorting the stock, creating selling pressure. Because in order to short a stock, you sell the stock first, and then you buy it back at a lower price. That's called shorting. There's a lot of shorts shorting MetaPharm Labs. Alberto Ramos says, any guesses on that TBP run Monday? Yeah, 20, 30%. Warren White says, how much US is 150 billion won? It's 174 billion won, which I believe is about 150 billion US. I think. I'm not sure. That's what I read in the article, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know exactly how the exchange works there. It's a big number. They're going to be supplying 1.2 trillion won, which is equivalent to 174 billion to money markets on money, meaning a net 150 billion won injection. Provide banks with 300 billion won in money for relending. Use open market operations and other tools to ensure sufficient liquidity. Keep money market rates stable. Temporarily remove the cap on Forex debt for some firms. Be less strict in checking banks' required reserves at the end of January. These are some of the measures being taken by the government of China to support the financial markets. Raid, thank you for the $10 donation. I really appreciate you. It means a lot. Lufer Boom says, tomorrow is going to be exciting. I know, instead of the markets crashing, I think the markets are going to go up because they're pumping them. Corey says, stop wasting time with straight stocks, trade options, and make real money. Options is very lucrative, but it's also very risky, so you got to know what you're doing. Happy Glass says, I am not getting back into Canopy until Constellation stock goes down, buying them. When legal hits, US Canopy has to buy them, and Constellation will take everything officially, in my opinion. Interesting. Armageddon News says, no one wants Chinese toilet paper. When you pump the market with billions of dollars, you got to assume that the market's going to do well. Happy Glass says, I meant Canopy has to buy acreage, then Constellation will buy it all, then it will buy Constellation. Armageddon News says, no one wants China electronics. China supports and supplies the whole world with all kinds of products, so. Dave Wynn says, Visa calls seems like a good move right now. Yeah, you would think that more and more people are going to consistently get into debt. Armageddon News says, we will not risk getting the virus from imports from China. We need to do something to stop the spread of this illness. What software do I use for trading? I use a lot of products. I use TradingView. I use MetaTrader 4. I use TD Direct Investing. I use RBC Direct Investing. I use a lot of tools. I use different indicators. I use TradingView. I use investing.com. I use MarketWatch. And I watch the whole global markets. I watch everything. I watch all the indicators. I watch all the opinions. And I have mentors that I follow from my trading academy that give me ideas and trade ideas on a consistent basis as well. So I'm constantly watching everything. I trade gold. I trade Bitcoin. I trade stocks. I trade options. I trade futures. I make money up. I make money down. I trade Forex. I trade everything. Mr. Joe Fly says China's make iPhones. Everybody use their electronics. Yeah, it's kind of funny when someone says that nobody wants China's electronics. People, China is the number one producer of everything for the world, the number one exporter to the world of products, dollar store products, you name it, it comes from China. Clothing, dollar store products, you name it, it comes from China. Fat Nut says, I know you guys heard me here before screaming about Liberty Health Sciences. Do we have any new believers? Yeah, they're looking good. Definitely looking good, but still a penny stock. As long as they're a penny stock, they're always going to be risky. Reefer Aljoint says, what are you talking about? Nobody wants Chinese goods. We buy all their televisions and components. We couldn't keep the inventory on the shelves because people were buying it so fast. Duh. Highway. Brent Jagger says, do you think the markets will crash 10x the amount it did on Friday? No. Ramdad says, don't worry, virus made in China, so it won't last long. Everybody's making jokes about this, but I think it's very serious. Everything's from China. We know this. All right, guys, we've been live for 46 minutes. I wanted to break this news to you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for being here. Have a happy Super Bowl Sunday. I might come live and do play-by-play of the Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll see. I have a busy day myself, but I will keep you guys updated. If there's any other breaking news, anything that's going on, I will let you know first. This is your boy Rich from Rich TV Live. China not letting their markets crash. China is going to be putting in 1.2 trillion yuan, 174 billion to money markets on Monday, meaning a net of 150 billion yuan injection. It's true. Markets won't crash. Could be a big green Monday. This is your boy Rich from Rich TV Live, and I'm out. Peace. Stay safe, everybody.